Hello and welcome to the Imaging Wire Show. My name is Brian Casey. I'm managing editor of the Imaging Wire. Got a great episode for you today. Our topic is Advancing Theranostics at BAMF, and our guest is Dr. Anthony Chang, founder and CEO of BAMF Health. Dr. Chang, it's really great to have you with us today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about what you're doing there at BAMF?
Happy to. Great to be here, Brian. Thank you for inviting. I originally came from Taiwan and a PhD in medical physics. And when I was in school, I feel extremely excited about this brand new field of using radiopharmaceuticals to catch a disease, what we cannot catch right now, and also using radiopharmaceuticals to treat a disease, what we cannot treat right now. And I basically see this is a brand new field that really allowed us to get into the field called true precision medicine. So I want to dedicate my life into it. I want to invent more technology. I want to make this technology accessible to the patients. That's how I started, and that's where I am.
So this field of using radiopharmaceuticals to treat cancer is starting to become known as Theranostics. Can you talk a little bit about exactly what Theranostics is and maybe why it is advantageous over some other cancer treatment modalities?
Yeah, definitely. This is actually not a new concept. I think the very first things we're trying to do is all the way back to almost 80-something years ago from Dr. Hertz. And we are using radiopharmaceuticals to make a diagnosis of the thyroid cancer and also using radioactive iodine to treat thyroid cancer. And this has been proven and practiced for over 80 years right now. However, in the early days, because the technology was not there, we have very limited isotope we can use, and also the chemistry method is not there. We don't really have good targeting probes and also conjugation method. So that limited the application. But for the past 20, 10, or 15 years, the whole thing has changed. We have way more target. We have way more knowledge on how to radio label these kind of drugs for a wide variety of radioisotopes. So we can start develop a lot of radiopharmaceuticals for a wide variety of diseases, including cancer. And the theranostic field itself is a very simple concept. It's to combine two words together, therapy and diagnostic. So we don't want to just treat patients based on the disease. We want to see where diseases are. So we see what we treat what we see. It's a true precision medicine concept.
And so the idea here is you're taking a radiopharmaceutical that's got a diagnostic component to it, which maybe has a little bit lower radioactive payload, and that identifies the site that you want to treat. And then you get a stronger radioactive payload that can go to that site and deliver a therapeutic dose of radiation.
Exactly. So there's a very straightforward concept. Before we want to treat the diseases, biologists start come out with great ideas of what about the molecular profile of this kind of specific disease, including different kind of cancers or like Alzheimer, Parkinson's, neurological related disease. Once we know the biology of that, the scientists develop the tracers can look in for those kind of disease. And then we use imaging method, meaning imaging tracer with short half-life isotopes, injecting the patients to identify if the targets are there and how much targets are there. And using this intelligence to decide, should we treat these patients with this kind of therapeutic target drugs and how much drug we need to inject into the patients. So we confirm the target, make sure they're there, knowing how many are there, and then we throw the targeted drug into it.
So it seems like this approach would be a lot more precise than using something like chemo, which might affect the whole body, or even radiation therapy, which you've got to go through healthy tissue to get to the diseased tissue. Is that kind of an accurate description?
That's accurate, and that's why I call it a true precision medicine. And so it's a very, very exciting time. When you talk about a conventional method, we call it evidence-based medicine. But a lot of time in clinical we practice, where basic follow the statistics. For example, 40% of these kind of patients will represent this target. Therefore, we're going to use these drugs, and hopefully it will the patient standing right in front of us belongs to this 40% of patients who will respond. But the reality is, if this patient belongs to this 40% or those kind of 60% of patient group doesn't respond to this kind of treatment, we have no idea. We have to try first. So the majority treatment we're doing right now in clinic is more like a trial and error method. But the using Theranostics is we actually confirm the target first. This information will allow us to make the precise decisions to determine go or no go and how much drug dose we want to inject into patients, significantly improve the successful rate, and also save the unnecessary treatment money and time to the patients.
Now, what are some of the clinical applications for Theranostics? What sort of diseases are you targeting? I understand that cancer is a big one, but there's also some other diseases like Alzheimer's and things like that.
Totally. I mean, I think right now, Theranostics is a concept, right? Theoretically, you can, as long as you have the right target, you can actually apply to all kind of diseases. So I want to separate this question to two categories. One is called the imaging part, one is the therapy part. And the imaging part, more specifically, this is called molecular imaging. This technology will allow us to see the molecular activities in patients. So if you think about conventional radiology, CT, MRI, ultrasound, the majority of the imaging we acquire right now is anatomical imaging or structural imaging. We're using shape or morphology to decide the biology or pathology. But before the shape change, there's a lot of time it starts from the molecular level change, which cannot be detected by current, like a CT or MRI, those kind of technology. So if we only rely on anatomical imaging, we actually lose a great opportunity to catch the onset of a disease and to intervene early. So molecular imaging will allow us to directly detect the molecular level change before anatomical change. And using this method, it can widely apply to a wide variety of cancer. Not only we can catch a cancer earlier, we know exactly what type of cancer it is, what's the molecular profile, and the quantity of the target or the receptor expressions on the cancer, so we can use to decide how much drug we want to inject into patients and what's the right drug to use. But on top of that, we also be able to see the response of the tumor to the therapy. Currently, if you use anatomical imaging, you have to rely on the size of a tumor to determine if this treatment works. Usually that's several months later. But using molecular imaging, the science has proven like within 24 hours, we already start be able to see the molecular level change if these drugs start working. So it will significantly improve the way, help us to decide should we keep going or should we change the drug in the earliest phase. But on top of that, there's a significant application on neurological related disease like Alzheimer's, Parkinson, this neurodegenerative disease. We all know it starts from like a minor molecular level change in patient's brain, and this kind of neurotoxin will eventually cause anatomical change and will cause the symptoms. So molecular imaging will give us a great chance to actually catch the disease way earlier, way before the symptom coming out, so we can intervene earlier. And besides the neurodegenerative disease, mental health related disease like a PTSD, like a CTE or depression, addiction, there's a lot of application can be monitored and diagnosed with right molecular imaging tracers. Cardiology related disease, chronic pain tracers, and also like gynecological related disease. There's a lot of things we can use molecular imaging to really impact these kind of patients, make the right diagnosis, early diagnosis. Then we move to the therapeutic part. Therapeutic part is, especially for cancer, is a leader trying to eliminate a tumor. The biggest application is, right now we all know the problem we're facing in cancer field is not like a single tumor, or like we call it oligometastasis, like meaning there's a tumor less than 5. Right now is when tumors spread out, there's 10, 20, 100 tumor over the body. There's no efficient way to tackle these kind of patients' disease without causing any significant side effect. So, but a molecular imager can offer that. It's like you're sending a group of drones into patient's body. They were actively looking for the tumor, and they will bind to it, burn this tumor out nonstop 24/7. deliver huge amount of a dose, more than the external beam radiation can do, but without causing significant side effect, is because the radioisotope we're choosing over here will release all the radiation energy within 2 millimeter size range. In other words, it'll burn everything out within that 2 millimeter size range, but outside of that, it will remain unharmed. Because this tube is very targeted, so outcome is actually really great, but also a side effect is significantly lower compared to conventional treatment. And that's the bigger picture about the impact the theranostics field can do.
That's amazing. I wasn't aware that there was such a wide range of applications for theranostics.
Yes.
Let's shift over and talk a little bit about BAMF. So BAMF is my understanding is a pretty novel idea in that it's an entire facility that's dedicated just to theranostics. Now, can you tell me, when you had the idea for BAMF and what was the thinking behind it?
Yeah, definitely. So like what I said, I jumped in this field very early, about 25 years ago, started from developing a tracer, really understand how powerful this field could be, and really understand this field. This is the things we have to make it accessible and affordable to every single patient who need it. And also the patient population we can impact is really, really huge. This is not a niche technology only treat one or two diseases. Every single disease we're facing, I just mentioned, there's millions of patients just over there in the United States alone. For example, right now for the 2 FDA-approved treatment for FD for the prostate cancer and for neuroendocrine tumor, we have about 3 million prostate cancer patients living in the United States right now. And even neuroendocrine tumor, even it's a rare cancers, but also there's no current solution. But another thing is a very high impact is Alzheimer's disease. We have I actually expect we're going to have a 10 million Alzheimer patient living in the United States by 2030. So, I mean, everything we're talking is big, and this is just 2 or 3 diseases we're talking about over here. Cardiac had 30 million patients. So what we're trying to do, and the problem I'm trying to solve over here, is not trying to develop another drugs for this kind of disease. For another diseases. Pharmaceutical company researchers, they can do great job to do about that. But the real problem is how are we going to make these drugs reach accessible and affordable to the patients? And we don't have these kind of supply chain infrastructures to support this. Think about this. These are radiopharmaceutical drugs. They're labeled with radioisotopes. Besides, we need to make a wide variety of radioisotope available. Radioisotope decays. And so how are we going to be able to manufacture a wide variety of drugs at a commercial scale, at affordable price every single day while we need to administer to the patients at a strategic location? That's a real big problem. I keep joking about we're in a business selling ice without freezer. So that's what we're trying to figure out. How are we going to make?
That's a great way to describe radioisotopes because they're always melting, right?
Always melting, and there's no way to stop it. And the isotope, a special diagnostic isotope we're dealing with is all the way from 2 minutes half-life to about 2 hours, 12 hours. And that means every 2 minutes we lost half of it, right? So we need to really figure out the technology and infrastructure for make a drug available first. But the next thing is, what we need is to scan a large amount of patients, and how we needed the brand new facility allowing us to do high throughput images, and without jeopardize patients' experience and the safety, and also make a sense of business models. And the same thing for therapy. These things are not just another infusion center to inject drug into the patients. The drug is radioactive. When we inject the drug, once the patient being injected, the patient is radioactive, and the patient's biological waste is radioactive. And when we need to scale it up, and our technologists, clinical staff gonna face radiation every single day in large amount. How are we going to protect their safety while they take care of the patient? That's the problem we are not ready for, and there's currently have no solution because we never need to face this kind of problem. And that's exactly what BAMF is trying to figure out. So BAMF is trying to figure out how to use technology and mindset to build the right facility, allowing us to offer enough supply for radiopharmaceuticals, but also scan large amount of patients, treat large amount of patients without jeopardize patients' experience and outcome and safety. And that's what BAMF came out with. So overall, we figured out how to build the infrastructures of radiopharmacy, imaging center, and therapy center. But we also have very strong software and AI team, develop a lot of technology to make the whole system runs more and more efficiently, so we can use less people, treat more patients without jeopardize the quality and the experience.
So it sounds like you have kind of economies of scale that might be greater than another facility where Theranostics is just sort of an adjunct to the nuclear medicine department or the radiation therapy department, and they're not doing the volume that BAMF does.
Yes, and we're here exactly trying to help our partners and everybody to solve these problems. I mean, to conduct Theranostics is not a problem. There's a lot of hospital or clinic is doing it right now in the United States. The real problem right now we're facing is, number one, how to do it right, how to scale it up, how to scale it fast, and how to scale it safely. That's the problem we're facing, and that's the problem BAMF can offer help to our partners to quickly deploy this kind of center and this kind of care to the patient who need it.
Okay. And when did you start treating patients, and maybe how does a referral to BAMF work? Do you have clinical partners out in the community and maybe even nationwide that will refer patients into BAMF?
Yeah. So we broke our ground in 2019, and we built this building through the COVID, and we opened the door in August of 2022. So that's when we started treating our first patients. And right now we remain one of the largest sites in the United States treating patients, but we're not affiliated with any single healthcare system specifically. We see ourselves as a community resource. We would like to work with everybody, and we have 10% of our patients came from out of the state of Michigan. And then we are also using these kind of infrastructures to conduct a lot of clinical trials, and with work with a somewhat wide variety of pharma companies on wide variety of diseases. Because one of our mission, besides make this treatment accessible, affordable to the patients, is also trying to facilitate the drug development. Either we can allow this kind of drug being successful faster, or we can help them to fail faster. And this is not a negative thing, because if we can we can prove this doesn't work faster, then pharma company and a lot of resource can be redeployed for the next big things.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the role of imaging, medical imaging, in Theranostics. And so we talked earlier about how imaging can be used to initially identify the site that needs to be treated, but then I guess imaging can also be used to monitor therapy. Can you talk a little bit about the role of imaging in Theranostics at BAMF?
Yeah, definitely. We actually put the three most advanced scanners in BAMF, and therefore we're literally one of the most advanced diagnostic center in the world. And why we're putting all these kind of advanced scanners over here is we really want to use this kind of facility to prove what's the future could be and what's the most ideal way to practice Theranostic to offer the best outcome to the patients. So number one, we have the total body PET CT. There's only two of these kind of scanner in the United States. One is UC Davis and one is at BAMF. And this scanner is 40 times more sensitive than conventional PET CT scanners. So every single patient come over here, we can automatically scan from head to toe instead of just eye to thigh. And so we don't miss any single tumors like outside of the conventional scanning range. And on top of that, because it's so sensitive, and we have a lot of flexibility to inject less radiation dose to the patients, especially for pediatric patients, we're really worried about their radiation going to affect their future development. We can actually scan patient way faster. We could publish a paper using this kind of scanner. We can scan achieve the full total body scan as fast as 30 seconds. And so, this is critical to a lot of patients who can, especially end-stage cancer patients who cannot lay for 20 to 40 minutes like a conventional PET doing. So the patient experience, patient's outcome and quality is still very good and for using these kind of things. So lower dose, faster scan, but also give us a higher resolution, higher sensitivity to catch all those kind of small lesions as small as around 2 millimeter size. And so our radiologists can make a confident decision if that's a real lesion or not. And because of this kind of sensitivity, this also gives us a lot greater quantitative data, allowing us to make a decision to predict the prognosis for a patient. So that's actually the PET-CT part. But on top of that, of course, the throughput is higher. We can scan way more patients just using one scanner instead of we need to stack up multiple scanners, occupy a lot of space. And then the other one is actually a PET-MR. And PET-MR is the rising imaging modalities over here, not only for oncology purposes. I mean, as you may know, like a majority of the localized prostate cancer patients, doctor would love to have a PET and an MR together in order to decide how to do the surgery, how to do the external beam radiation, including proton. And but it's usually we only have about 40-50 PET MR around the United States, so it's not widely available to the patients. So patients usually need to get a PET and get an MR, and then they need to use software to register with each other. There's a lot of inefficient process. So we have PET MR over here right next to our PET CT, and using this kind of setting and with the most and also leveraging the sensitivity of our PET CT, we can do PET CT and a PET MR in one visit using one injection in 1 hour. So there are not too many facilities can do that. So we prove using this kind of setting, not only we can offer the patient the best care, offer the most efficiently process, but significantly lower the cost for the patients, but offer the best data to the patient to make a decision. So that's the very unique side of this kind of setting. But on top of that, of course, PET MR is going to be critical, play a very important role for cardiac images and also brain images. Alzheimer's is very, very important right now, and usually you need to have an MRI and PET combined with each other. By using PET MR, is going to offer a great one-stop shop over here.
So, Dr. Chang, PET MRI is one of the most powerful medical imaging modalities. Can you talk a little bit about how powerful it is and how useful it is for the work you're doing there?
Yeah, definitely. PET MR is going to be one of the most powerful technology and with a wide applications to very different kind of diseases. I mean, need to combine the power of the two imaging modalities together. A PET can actually acquire molecular information, and we all know MR offers the best soft contrast for the body. And if you combine these two things together, this is the best combination to really understand what's going on to help doctors make decisions. And the PET MR we have is from United Imaging, and which is very unique, is actually they can acquire PET and MR simultaneously instead of sequentially, so we can get a real-time data for each other. And also it has a high number of channels. If I remember right, it's 48 channels. It allowed us to acquire the images really, really fast, which is a critical to the patient experience. Because a lot of time the patient's complaints on MRI is always they need to lay in the time for a long time. So with a fast acquisition, simultaneous acquisition, and this offer a patient great quality of care and also high quality of image intelligence, allowing us to make the right decisions. And I foresee there's going to huge rise of the using of PET MR in the near future. But on top of that, the third scanner we have is digital SPECT CT. And why that is important, we're not using digital SPECT CT for diagnostic purposes. We're using that for dosimetry purposes and also to confirm the treatment. And that's the beautiful part of the Theranostics. Conventionally, when we inject the treatment to the patients, and we just hope and assume drug will go to the tumor, and we hope the tumor will shrink. But if the drug get into a tumor and how one drug get into each tumor, we have no idea. But using Theranostics, 24 hours later after we inject drug to the patient, put a patient under SPECT CT, we can see if the drug get into the tumor and how much drug get into each tumor. And using the technology we have developed in-house, we can come out with comprehensive dosimetry map to really help the patient to decide should this patient continue for the actual round of the therapy, or we should start right now, or we should start shift to alternative treatment. So we don't guess anymore. We don't we don't waste our time anymore. Every single step, we have a solid intelligence to help our physicians, to help the patient to make the confident decisions. And that's the beauty of this, and that's the imaging modality we have in-house.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Alzheimer's disease, and let's focus on that a little bit more.
Okay.
How are you using imaging to track patients with Alzheimer's, and how is Theranostics treating that? And do you have any examples of cases that you think really stand out?
Yeah, definitely. Alzheimer's is a very, very important disease, and it's going to make a huge impact, not only to the family, to the patients itself in health-wise, but also going to impact the community economic-wise. Because this patient will live way longer, but different from cancer, they usually need to drag a working force from a community, get back to the house to take care of them. And we have a lot of patients like that. Until last year, we don't really have any FDA-approved treatment for that. So, I mean, for Alzheimer's disease, I see there's actually three major things we need to conquer over there. Number one is we need to be able to catch a disease way earlier, meaning before a symptom coming out. The science has proven the disease will develop in patient's brain usually for 10 to 15 years before a symptom coming out. But a patient will only go to see doctors while symptom coming out. That means usually it's in a later stage. And that's one of the reasons this is so hard to treat and to manage. So molecular imaging has a great potential, and a lot of clinical study has started to show the evidence molecular imaging, PET imaging will allow us to catch a disease way earlier. And when we're using the right tracer, I mean, as you may know, like amyloid, of course, is actually one of the most common tracers for Alzheimer's disease. But the tau tracers, there's a lot of tau tracers in development right now. They can also offer way more accuracies in Alzheimer's disease, especially when we combine these two things together. So that part, early detection before a symptom, is very promising, and it will be the potential application for Alzheimer's disease diagnosis part. But the next part is actually how are we going to differentiate the dementia? Because a lot of people confuse with dementia and Alzheimer's disease together. Dementia is a symptom, you forget things. Alzheimer's is one of the reasons will cause dementia. There's over 80 or 90 reasons can cause dementia. So how are you going to decide if this is the Alzheimer's patients, this is from temporal lobe dementia patients, or this is other dementia patients? How are we going to differentiate this kind of patient, offering the right diagnosis? And molecular imaging can play a very important role. For example, FDG, this is one of the most common PET tracers, play a very important role to actually allowing patients to see which part of their brain is activated. So, I mean, at a certain phase of Alzheimer's disease and FT dementia patients, their symptoms are very, very similar. And a lot of patients, because FT dementia is relatively rare compared to Alzheimer's, so a lot of patients being misdiagnosed as Alzheimer's disease, being treated differently until a later phase. And using FDG images, we can clearly see for FT dementia patient, their front and temporal lobe has way less uptake compared to an Alzheimer's patient. So if we conduct these type of images, it will allow us to have a more efficient way and accurate to make the right diagnosis and differentiate the treatment and moving to a different route. So that's diagnostic parts, just some example over here. And then let's talk about the treatment. The treatment right now, two FDA-approved drugs. One is called Laquinby, the other one is called Kisunla. I hope I pronounce that name correctly. So they're all targeted Alzheimer, they're amyloid plaques, and then they're trying to remove that. So the most important part to qualify patient to use this kind of drug is to identify they have number one, amyloid plaque in their brain, and number two, they have enough amyloid plaque in patient's brain. And then so right now, since the FDA approval of this kind of treatment, the CMS has required the patient using PET images to qualify them for reimbursement. Of course, you can also use a CSF tapping test, but it's rather invasive. And then so if you PET image, amyloid image is positive, then they're qualified for this kind of treatment. And then when they qualify for this kind of treatment, during the treatment course usually can be 1 year, 18 months or longer. Besides the MRI imaging to test if they have the hemorrhage or edema in the brain, it required using the PET images to evaluate the treatment response, meaning if this drug really remove the amyloid plaque and how much has been removed, and should you stop treating patients or not. So PET is actually required by CMS right now for this part of purpose qualified patients and make the go or no-go decisions during the treatment. And the problem we're facing, like what we said, there's not enough sites manufacture the amyloid PET tracers, so it's not widely available. And the majority PET centers doesn't really have a capacity to digest this large amount of patients over here. So that's a major problem we're facing over here right now. So, I mean, these are the two major parts how PET can really impact the Alzheimer's disease. And of course, there's some other tracers, especially tau tracers. I4C is going to get onto the market very soon, combined with amyloid images, and the FDG images, and with MRI, it will basically offer a very, very precise and accurate intelligence to doctors to decide how to treat a patient correctly.
Yeah. Any clinical cases that you've treated recently that really stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is basically just like what I was saying, because this is a new drug. So when we're treating the patients over here, we haven't really seen a long-term effect. We just started treating the patients. But what the impact BAMF made is we're maybe one of a few fully integrated comprehensive Alzheimer's treatment center and imaging center all under one roof in one space. So if you look at this kind of process, like what I said, the amyloid tracer is not widely available. The imaging center with the capacity is not widely available. So patients who want to conduct this kind of therapy, number one, they needed to get diagnosed with a status called a mild cognitive impairment. And then the doctor will need to order a PET scan. And if a PET scan is positive, then they are qualified for this kind of treatment. And once they qualify for treatment, they need to get it infused every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks, depends on which drug you're using. And during this kind of treatment, you need every several months, you need to conduct an MRI scan to make sure you don't have brain swelling or the bleeding. And you needed the PET images to decide should you keep going for this. And so usually patients need to go to one place for PET, one place for diagnosis, one place for MRI, one place for infusion. For dementia patients, it's really, really hard, and also very hard for the family. And what we observe is even this is available, even if for the infusion, there are not too many places really have the capacity to do the infusion. So BAMF came out with this kind of program, and to integrate everything in one house, we have the physician can make the diagnosis, the mild cognitive impairment. We will be able to offer high quality amyloid images because we have radiopharmacy in-house. We can manufacture the drugs and the tracers, and we have a high quality PET MR, PET CT, and so offer the right informations. And we have an infusion room to offer the infusion over the patients. And the PET MR can be used as MR, so patient can come over here to do the monitoring process. So this is well aligned with our mission. We want to make this kind of technology accessible for both the patient who need it. The worst case things you can think about, and which that's what we observe from a lot of our patients' family is they feel really, really frustrated. They know the potential solution is there. They know insurance is going to pay for it, but they just have no place to go to get the scan and to get the treatment.
Well, it's great that you guys are able to offer these services, because this is
very proud of our team to be able to conquer this.
Yeah. So what can we expect to see at BAMF in the near future, in the years to come?
Yeah, BAMF we see ourselves as a platform, and as always joking, we built a very fancy and cool sandbox. We want everybody come into play. Our job is trying to force the whole field. We want to partner with everybody and to literally make this available to the patient to achieve the true precision medicine. So, I mean, this infrastructure, including with modern standardized radiopharmacy, so allow us manufacture a wide variety of radiopharmaceuticals for both diagnostic and therapy purposes at a commercial scale at affordable price. And also we can support both clinical need and also research need. And the high throughput, top-notch scanners, besides offer patient the best quality of imaging service, we can conduct a lot of clinical trials to answer a lot of questions we cannot answer using this kind of setting. The same with our therapy clinic. And so we're here to not only help the pharmaceutical company conduct clinical trials all the way from first in human to phase 3 way faster, but we also can help a radiopharmaceutical company to commercialize their drugs to reach out to patients, and also patients have the place to be scanned to be treated. But on top of that is literally we want to work with our healthcare partners, academic partners, to really doing a lot of research to advance this field. We are just at the onset of a brand new field. This is a very, very powerful tool. There's still very exciting things we saw, we observe through our patients. We haven't really have a solid answer yet regarding to why this happened. For example, we see a lot of some of the patients achieve one shot, achieve complete remission. And this is not a rare, with 100 of tumor disappear. And then so why is that? What caused by that? Gradually, we have some ideas, but in order to really apply to every single patient, allowing every of our colleagues in the field to apply to their patients, we need solid studies. So that's what BAMF stands for. We want to become that platform, that infrastructures, working with everybody, really focus on how can we facilitate the research, make the whole process more efficient, and offer the best care to the patients with quality, and really move the field forward. We don't want to lose any single life we shouldn't lose.
Great. Well, Dr. Anthony Chang of BAMF Health, thanks for this fascinating discussion. It's going to be really interesting to see where your facility goes and how you're going to be able to advance the field. Thanks so much for being with us.
Yes. So thank you for inviting us. So glad to be with you to share our story.
Yeah. All right. Signing off for the Imaging Wire. My name is Brian Casey.